26. How can this man smile with confidence when he has bad teeth? 27. How can this man be confident in his own skin when he has severe facial acne?
Like what we've been saying in the other videos, I don't think these are black pill beliefs. I think this is just a confidence issue that anyone would have, whether you're male or female. There's a lot of girls who have bad skin who aren't going to be confident. There's a lot of different people in the world that don't have good teeth that are going to struggle to be confident.
Yeah, no, I remember growing up and having like a forehead full of spots. But you go through that with puberty.
Yeah.
And maybe what they're referring to is people that have gone beyond puberty and they still have it. So like guys that are like, let's say 30.
Yeah.
And they still got terrible skin. Obviously, it's going to be harder. I mean, like, I don't really know why this is a black pill thing. If you're more predisposed to getting spots, or your skin's more oily, or your hair's thinning at a young age, of course it's going to be more difficult. But the same would be true for a woman.
Yeah.
So I don't really understand the premise here.
Yeah. Also, I know they say you look good, you feel good, and it is hard to be confident if there's certain things about you that's not looking the best. But if you were to push that aside, the confidence would actually take over and make people not really look at that stuff anyway. And there's a lot of people who do still get very far in life, even when certain things are not physically appealing. I'm going to use a couple celebrities as an example, yeah? If you take Cardi B as an example, Cardi B had like a crooked tooth or a broken tooth at the front or something, and then once she got like rich, she fixed it and everything, but she got to where she was to be able to fix it without needing to fix it. Do you know what I mean? And
is Cardi B a fair example though? Because didn't she have other things about her that made her attractive? Other things physically about her that were attractive to me. I mean, she was a stripper, right? So she must have been attractive on some level for people to go and throw money at her.
I get it, but it's just the whole concept of it shouldn't hold you back from things in life. I can use J. Cole as another example. Have you heard J. Cole Crooked Smile?
No.
Okay, well, in the song, he's basically rapping about it, and he's like, I don't want to start rapping his lyrics, but he's basically saying, he's like, they tell me I should fix my grill because I got money now. I'm not going to sit around in front like I thought about it. A perfect smile is more appealing, but it's funny how my shit is crooked. Look at how far I got without it. Basically saying like, if it's my teeth have been or whatever, my smile, whatever, but I've still managed to get as far as I have with that.
I don't know if celebrities are the best examples because they're the outliers, right? They are hyper successful. The everyday person who is struggling with these things, that's not really going to resonate with them.
But my point is that they managed to get to their level of fame and success even with these issues. It's not held them back. They never always had everything good.
Then what would you say to somebody? Let's say that there's a guy who's struggling to get with women. He hasn't had the best luck with employment. Let's say he hasn't got too many things going on for him. And on top of that, his skin is all mashed up.
Yeah.
What would you say to him? Like, where does he start?
It's a good question.
Because someone like J. Cole and someone like Cardi B, there's other I don't know about J. Cole, but I know for Cardi B, there's other things that she would have been deemed attractive, and so people would have overlooked the crooked tooth. I can understand how some of these guys, like I won't lie to you, like I see some people and I feel bad for them, and I don't mean that in a mean way, but if there is a God out there, he didn't bless them, and then on top of that, he gave them like horrendous skin, and walking around with like really bad skin can really affect you. It didn't affect me too much because my concern when I was growing up was being overweight, but I knew that I could take control of that. But with my skin, no matter how much water I drank, I actually tell a lie, I started drinking water much later. That probably added to it. I was drinking too much Sunny D.
Yeah.
But whatever I tried or whatever I did at the time for myself, there was nothing really that I could do about it. Like my understanding of nutrition and water intake at that young age just wasn't there. So being in school and being around all these girls, and then you've got friends who have clear skin and you're there with like rashes everywhere. I can get why people would feel like, how can I compete with this guy who's not only tall, not only got nice teeth, but he's also not suffering through puberty the same way I am. Because some people didn't. Some people did not get all the spots.
Yeah, I get it, because there's certain things, say, about myself that makes me struggle to be confident because of it. So I can understand it, but that's where I do think it's just an overall human thing more so than just males struggling with it.
Yeah, I think the black pill community is populated by men though. I don't think there's a lot of women in the black pill community. With women, I can understand. The more we're talking about it, the more I'm understanding why it would be more of an issue for men. Because even though we place a lot of value on a woman's beauty, we both know that girls that are not particularly amazing looking can still get a lot of attention.
Not necessarily.
They can. Not all the time. That's what I'm saying. They can get attention. Not they always will. But I think where boys struggle because there's normally like the popular guy or the popular crowd, and they get all the attention from the girls, and then there's everyone else, and they're sort of like fighting for scraps. And I get where guys like this, where even if you take it outside of school and you look at a 30-year-old, if he's walking around with mashed up skin, I don't know what I don't know if I'm equipped enough to tell this guy what he needs to do other than find something else to focus on. But it's easy for me to say because my skin's not mashed up.
This could be looked at then as more so not just the issue with the skin, but the issue with the person overall, how physically appealing they are. Because let's say you take a really, really attractive guy that a lot of people find attractive, and you give him really bad skin, these people are probably still going to find him attractive because he's, like you're saying with the Cardi B thing, he's attractive in other ways. Whereas if you're taking someone who's not as attractive and then placing them with bad skin, it's like double bad, do you know what I mean? So it's not the skin that's the issue, it's sort of everything else that lies with it, because the skin's not going to hold everyone back.
What would you say to a guy who's 5'4", bad skin, balding? He's losing his hair.
Yeah.
By no fault of his own. Let's say he is drinking water, he's eating well. You know, we're going to say he's not fat either. So he's eating well. He's not overindulging in sugar.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, his hairline's receded. He's losing his hair. He's got bad skin. He's 5'4".
Well, look, I know it's easier said than done because everyone's situations in life are different, but we all have life choices, right? And there is, if this is something that you're battling with every day and it's mentally getting you down and you feel like it's holding you back in life, then there is things you could do about it. So for example, you could go and see dermatologists and try to figure out different ways to get your skin better. It's not that your skin has to stay like that forever. There's things you can do to ease it up. It's not easy. I know, like I've got quite bad skin at the moment and I'm trying everything I can and it's not really working, but there's things you can do to help ease it. And I know I shouldn't be saying this because it's not quite fair, but there is surgery that you could do for your hair if it was really getting you down that bad.
Yeah, but not everyone can pay to fly to Turkey to get a hair transplant.
But also, if it's something that's bothering you that bad, then you could get an extra job on the weekend if you really wanted to and keep putting that money aside until eventually you've got enough to go and do it.
I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a 30-year-old man who's going through this stuff, and look, it feels like the world is caving in on themselves because you go on Instagram, and Instagram does give you a full sense of reality. It's not really what's going on, but I can understand how you're seeing everyone posting these nice pictures, being with all these women. I can understand the more I say it out loud why they would feel like the world's falling in on itself. But my advice to them would really be that, unfortunately, like, you've been dealt a bad hand. You don't really have any other choice other than to just move forward. And that's really shallow advice. And it might sound rich coming from me because we're talking about a man that's balding. I'm obviously not balding. And we're talking about a man that has poor skin. I don't have bad skin. So it might even sound, I might sound even stupid saying these things because it's easy for me to get out of bed and be like, okay, there's this one thing wrong here, but I might have all these other things that women like. So...
But that's what I'm saying. But these men could have a lot of other factors that a woman might like. And even if they didn't, there's things he could do to just, if he was to love himself past his bad skin and his balding hair and be confident and do other things, like you're saying, go to the gym, get a fitter body, or, you know, work harder, make a bit more money, and just be overall confident and fun and happy in yourself, it might end up attracting the right woman along the way.
Yeah, my advice to someone going through that is, you've been dealt a shitty hand. There's no way around that, unfortunately. If you haven't got the money to get a hair transplant, if you're doing everything you can and your skin's still bad, just do the things that you can do. That's all you can really do. I don't really know what else there's nothing else you can really do. Get your money up, get your fitness up, and, you know, you might have even been dealt a bad hand and you're short and stocky and your body doesn't develop in the way you would want it to, that it doesn't give you that typical Adonis V-shaped look. And even then, it's still better than sitting at home and feeling sorry
Yeah.
for yourself. That's not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, you can't let things in life defeat you. And something like bad skin should not hold you back from doing the things that you want to do in life.
Well, I think it's important to say that things in life will defeat you.
But you
will.
can't let it hold you down.
Yeah, that's the
forever.
thing. You can't. You have to understand how to regroup and pick yourself up and go from there. I would never sit here and say don't let it beat you. You shouldn't, ideally, but it probably will. We've all been beaten down by something, but it's being able to pick yourself up. That's the important thing.
28. Status also doesn't matter for these reasons. Because 29, similar to confidence, status is also largely determined by looks. For example, 30, 58% of CEOs are over 6 foot, despite them only making up 15% of the population. Additionally, 31, women tend to only care about status when they have reached settling down age.
What do you think about
I
that?
disagree.
Why'd you disagree?
Um,
I didn't know about that CEO stat. I don't even know.
yeah,
if
I
that's true.
didn't know about that statistic. But for example, there's a lot of girls in their young 20s who try and chase a lot of men of status and stuff. So you'll get a lot of girls that are trying to go for footballers, rappers. I'm talking in this day and age currently now. And that's a young age of people trying to do that. If you're not the best looking, sometimes status can still help you get further in life because a lot of people do go after status.
Yeah, they do go after status. I would disagree with this. I do think having status and looks is obviously going to be a big deal. Because if a girl's walking around with a 6 foot guy who's got a lot of money, she's probably going to feel a lot better about herself than walking around with a guy that's like very, very short with money. So being tall and attractive is obviously going to help, but status doesn't mean very little. That's my only issue with it. It doesn't mean very little. I would say it's significant. If you are making a lot of money, if you have some power, and if you have like public sway, I think that goes a long way with girls.
Yeah, and I don't think that you need to be the best looking to gain status in different aspects anyway, because there's a lot of people out there with status
Yeah.
who are really not the best looking.
32. University-aged girls don't care much about a man's BMW if the man driving it is short, old and balding.
All right, that's probably true, but those are
Correct.
university girls. Like they're looking for the jock, they're looking for
Yeah.
the football player or
Yeah.
whatever. Like I can, that's true, but I don't know. I don't really know if that matters very much.
Yeah, but he did just say that the women who are in the settling stage more so go for it, not the younger girls.
Yeah,
But a
Which he's probably right
BMW is not, I don't class that as status.
well, it depends on what BMW is.
Do you know what? I don't look at stuff like that. Like sometimes if I was talking to a guy and he drives a nice flash car, sometimes I won't be looking at it as, oh, because in my mind I'm thinking you're probably paying a lot of finance on that every month, which leaves you with less money every month.
But what if you found out that BMW belonged to him?
If he owns it outright, then good on him. But most of the time, the guys that are driving maybe a bit of a shittier car have got better sort of mindsets towards life because they're not living beyond their means. They're managing their money better and prioritizing other things that may be more important.
Yeah, I would say yes and no, because that is true. You can buy a car that is less expensive because you want to invest your money elsewhere.
Yeah.
But there's also the flip side where you've worked so hard and you're of such a high status that you can just buy like a BMW outright, like a sports version.
But
And that would be an indication of your status.
Yeah, but you'd know if somebody has afforded that outright. I don't know if afforded is an
if you
actual
can
word.
afford it,
If before anyone says I'm dumb, but do you know what I'm saying? You'd know by everything else that they do in their life and their date, like their job and things like that. You'd know whether they've got that on finance or whether they've bought that outright.
Yeah, well, people can only hold up the facade for so long. So
Yeah.
if you're with someone and he's out there throwing money all the time, if he hasn't got that money to throw around, it's going to show its ugly head eventually. But
Yeah.
if he's doing it consistently, where it's not a problem, and then you find out that this guy owns businesses and whatever, then it is an indication of his status if he's able to buy a car outright.
Yeah.
Obviously, girls that are older, they're looking to settle down. They're going to look for security, provisions, somebody that is going to be able to like carry the banner in the family. So yeah, that is true. And it is also true that university girls are probably looking for the hottest guy. They're not looking.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're not looking for money and all that at that
Young
age.
university boys are probably looking for the hottest girl as well.
old men are looking
Even
for the hottest
older
girl.
guys,
It
yeah,
doesn't
just
change.
men look for hot girls.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, obviously we
That's
look.
what I'm saying. I'm gonna start creating some black pill beliefs just for women. Then
You should do 100 black pill beliefs
I
for
should,
women.
innit?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it.
Write down a whole list
And
and
then
we'll do
can
a
we
video.
react to it?
Yeah, write down a whole list and we'll talk through it.
Okay.
33. Women only start caring about your personality after you're above their minimum looks threshold.
I can agree with
That's
that.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you saw a 2,
Yeah.
you would only care about his personality as for a friend.
Yeah.
Like, is this someone that you want to keep about
Yeah.
as a friend? You wouldn't consider them a partner or somebody that you're going to
It's-
sleep with.
Yeah, it's true, but I don't think that something like that should be an issue because people should only be going. Well, not only. I'm not gonna say only, but most of the time you want to go for somebody who you're attracted to.
No, but I think the issue for these guys is that he's talking to the audience that are
As if nobody's ever going to be attracted to this one person.
no.
is not
Someone
true.
will be attracted to them, but obviously the pool of people is going to be smaller, right?
Yeah.
If you're below a 5, more often than not, people that encounter you are probably going to perceive you to be lower than a 5 as well. If you're like a 7, then you might fluctuate. Some people might think you're a 9, some people might think you're a 6.
Yeah.
But if you're on the lower scale of like the numbers, even though I don't like using numbers to describe people too much, if you are down there, it's more often than not people are going to perceive you to be less attractive.
Yeah.
So you're just going to be friend zoned all the time.
But it's the same for women.
I think the scale is slightly different for women. I think where a guy that might be a 4 would really struggle to get a match on Tinder or get someone to sleep with him, I don't think a woman that is a 4 would struggle.
I think she still would.
But then why do women say men will sleep with anything? Because then it doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't because I don't think men will sleep with anything,
Mm-hmm.
but
The pool's wider for men, right?
yeah.
What they're willing to bed, like if we're being fair and honest, what men are willing to bed, the pool's going to be a lot wider than women.
Yeah, but then that's just solely going off of sex here and not actual relationships.
I think that this is encompassing everything. So these guys can't even get laid. So they're not even over the first hurdle. So they're not even thinking about a relationship. They're just thinking about some sort of human interaction, some sort of attention. I do think women that are very, very low on the dating, because you see all these fetishes, right, from these women. And I don't mean to be like rude when I say this, but people that most of the time I'm not going to turn my head up. We've seen weird fetishes online with people that are like grossly overweight and they're just sending feet pics, or they're like, women can get away with a lot when they're very low down on the board, but men can't do that. You don't really see men doing those sort of things with OnlyFans or whatever. Those women are still desirable because the net that men cast is much bigger than the ones that women do. So I can understand why that is, but I don't really blame the women for that. They're allowed to have their preferences and their standards. If men have lower standards in terms of who they're going to bed, I wouldn't necessarily say that's the problem of the woman. Not that I'm saying that he's even saying that either, but it is true.
34. If you're way above a woman's minimum looks threshold, it gets to the point where you can get away with pretty much anything. And in fact, your negative personality traits can be seen as positives.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's true.
I can
He's
agree
not
with
he's not
that.
lying there.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of guys that are like, they're tall and they're in decent shape, but they're the bad boy. A lot of those guys come with bad personality traits and they manipulate women and do all sorts of things to them and set them
Yeah.
down a path that a lot of them don't recover from, but a lot of girls will overlook it because the guy is so attractive that it's I know people that we
Yeah.
both know people that do this.
Yeah, and I think ego comes into a lot of it as well. So if a really attractive guy, even with a negative personality, was to hurt a girl, it's going to hurt her ego because she's going to think maybe I'm not good enough for him because he's so good looking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely think, and that the same goes for women though. Just whilst we're on that subject, the more attractive you are, I reckon the more you'll be able to get away with. I would say, let's say that you had, who can I pull out randomly? Let's say you had Summer Rae, right? And then you had, I don't know, one of these female comedians, you know, one of the unattractive female comedians, like Amy Schumer. Let's say we could have Amy Schumer and Summer Rae. I reckon, generally speaking, because of how Summer Rae looks, because of her, and because of the way Amy Schumer looks, Summer Rae is more than likely going to be able to get away with a lot more than she is. By that same token, if you're with somebody, let's take away their status, let's say, because you like Anthony Joshua, you're probably more likely to let him get away with a lot more with you than, say, Tyson Fury, right? So I think he's right on that. Unfortunately, it's not a good thing. We might be placing too much value on people's beauty and letting them treat us like just because they look so good, but that is true.
B35. An attractive man who is shy is perceived as cute. Meanwhile, 36. An unattractive man who is shy is seen as antisocial.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know, maybe this black pill video is onto something.
But wait, just pause for a second. I'm going to say it's the same for women as well. If an unattractive girl was all shy and stuff, people look at her like she's weird, she's awkward, you know. But if it was a pretty girl, it'd be like, oh my God, you're so cute. Like, it's exactly the same.
I think the notion is the same. The net, again, the ratio of men to women and the way people look at them like that, I think is drastically different. Because I think that you can get a girl you can get two people, they're both perceived as fours, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't think they'd get the same reaction. I think the guy would still be seen as antisocial, creepy. I don't think the girl would. I think you would have to be a special kind of weird if you're a woman to have guys going, oh, she's weird. Like, I don't want to be near her. That's rare. You see that in Hollywood films when they're doing the stupid bullying scenes, but you don't really see that in real life. Most of the time, guys will they won't walk over and be like, you're creepy. Look, they'll be like, oh, she's shy.
I think what I would base it off now from personal experience is more so how it was when I was in school. I do think things are a lot different now, but there would have been a lot of girls who were unattractive that guys would be mean and be like, yeah, she's weird and this, that and the other. Just
yeah, but kids are little
that's
shits.
The thing. That's why it's hard to base it off of that.
Adults, I don't think that's happening. I think guys are definitely perceived as creepy when they're unattractive. I don't think girls are.
Okay.
Have you ever been at a party because I've been at parties where there's antisocial girls and they're not like the best looking. I've never thought they're creepy, but we've all been to parties and there's that one dude and he's in the corner and we've all thought, even I thought, that guy looks like he could shoot up a school. It is what it is.
37. An attractive man who is awkward is seen as funny or adorable. Meanwhile, 38. An unattractive man who is awkward is seen as weird or creepy.
Isn't that what I just said? It's true. He's not wrong.
39. When an attractive man makes bad jokes, they will be voluntarily laughed at by women as they want to impress him.
I'm going to disagree with this one because there's been a lot of unattractive guys who are funny as, you know, and there's been a lot of good-looking guys who are not funny, and it's kind of just a bit like, I wouldn't say off-putting, but it is kind of off-putting in a way because it's just, I wouldn't laugh at a guy's joke just because he was fit. Absolutely not.
Yeah,
you're either funny or you're not.
On the basis of the joke, just on the joke facts and not on them standing in the corner, yeah. I would disagree with him as well. Because I know dudes that are extremely funny that girls don't really find attractive, but they're happy to be around them because they're funny.
Not in a rude way. It's always the more unattractive guys that are funnier.
Special guest appearance.
Take a seat. Yeah, so as I was saying, I think it's more the unattractive guys that are more funnier anyway.
Jem, what do you think? Do you ever go to parties and there's a girl that doesn't talk as much as everyone else and you think that she's creepy?
I don't think she's creepy. I just think she's introverted or shy.
When you go to a party, you see like a conventionally unattractive guy who's not really talking much. He's kind of just looking around. Do you ever think he could be a bit creepy?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because he's a man. He's more of a threat than a woman. It's the threatening aspect, I suppose.
Yeah, because he's not saying anything. He's just looking around.
Yeah, and I also think it's, I don't know, generalising here, in my experiences, men tend to be a bit more loud and outgoing than women are, generally speaking. Not in all cases, but generally speaking.
I have a question then. So, because you've both just said that you think a man is more of a threat. Now, why do you think a man is more of a threat? Because if a woman was to say that, men will be going off their rockers.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
Why would they go off their rockers? I perceive men as more of a threat than women. I don't perceive women as a threat.
Why?
Because like most women I come by, I can just flatten them if I wanted. Most guys that you come by, the capacity for them to like cause chaos is much higher than a woman. So I always perceive men as, that's why you tell women not to leave the house at 3 a.m. Just because if the streets were heavily populated by women, I don't think anyone would really care. But most of the time when you're outside at that time, you're encountering strange men.
Yeah, but you said it's just as unsafe for a man as it is for a woman anyway.
Yeah, but I'm saying if the streets were just populated by women at 3 a.m, I wouldn't have much of a problem with it. But we know there's weirdos in the alleyways. So we tell you guys, just like we wouldn't leave, to not leave the house.
And it's also, when Michael says it's a threat for both, the common threat is the creepy men.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you walk down the street and you see a massive group of loud football fans, all men, all loud, you're going to feel a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Where if you see a group of women, all from something they've gone and watched, like a concert or something, or maybe even football as well, you're going to feel less intimidated or less threatened. Same thing for men. If I'm walking down a street and there's a massive group of loud, boisterous men, I'm going to feel more threatened than I would do if there's a group of loud women. I'm going to be like, great.
Yeah. Yeah, if I encountered a bunch of loud women who were having a good time, I wouldn't feel any kind of way other than, like, I'd probably feel quite happy seeing them happy like that. And when I encounter football fans who are going crazy, I walk the other way. I already know what they're up to. That's not I'm not demonizing all football fans, but like when England lost to, was it France or who did they lose to in the Euros? The UEFA Euros. Was it France?
It was France, no?
They lost to someone over here,
It was France.
or they were playing over there, and they went ballistic. Like people had to be evacuated from the stadium. There was
England beats Iceland, but Sweden. And when it's like here, started smashing it up.
did they? Didn't even know that.
No, neither did
But I
I.
guarantee you, most of the people that were smashing up IKEA, if not all of them, were men. You're not gonna find a woman doing that shit. See, we don't just on women all day on this podcast.